Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we have another Sully's top five for you. We got top five teams or top five trade destinations that Kevin Durant should attend or look at or whatever you want to call it for the 2025 NBA off season. So yeah, top five teams that Kevin Durant should be looking at or should the Suns should look at. So yeah, for this video, not all of these are guaranteed to happen. Some of these are rumors. Not all of these are real things to look at. But I think these are things that the Suns or Kevin Durant should consider. But Kevin Durant, his trade value has significantly gone down in the past the past year or a couple or weeks, I guess you should say, because of the fact that I think teams are starting to realize, and I mentioned this in my Tom Thibodeau video where he was fired by the New York Knicks, that, you know, you can't trade half your team away for a superstar because then you have no bench depth left. And when you have no bench depth, you have no chance of winning a championship. Role players matter, assets matter to your team. And I think people are going to start realizing that, unless you do what the New York Knicks did and you trade most of your draft picks for a superstar that are not your own draft picks, then okay, it's fine. But you kind of have to hold on to your own draft picks. You have to, unless you're trading for you know, a very young superstar like a Luka Doncic or something around there. You can't trade for these older superstars like a Kevin Durant and give up all your draft assets because of the fact that you only have a short window to win a championship. And then it's kind of what happened with the Suns. They don't have any bench depth left. They traded away Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, and then they had no role players. They had no depth, and then they couldn't. Succeed with Kevin Durant. So, I think that why am I talking about all this? I think that this list is constructed based off of, you know, teams that have a 1 to 2 year window left and wouldn't really mind trading their assets away. Or some of these teams don't have a 1 to 2 year window, but some of these teams, should trade maybe could trade some of their assets away because they are like the New York Knicks and they have a lot of draft picks to the point where they can trade 5 first round picks for Mikal Bridges and certain picks for Karl Anthony Towns. So I think when you look at this list, you have to take that into consideration. You can't just say, okay, well, we're just going to throw Kevin Durant on a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder with the current roster without realizing that they have to give up assets. And you have to also think, why would they want Kevin Durant as well? So just keep that all in mind when you're watching this video. This list is kind of constructed based off the way of what I think teams would have to trade for Kevin Durant and how likely they would be to win a championship with Kevin Durant. So we'll see. And even after Kevin Durant. So take that all into consideration. You guys don't want to hear me babbling about this. Let's just get right into the video. So starting off here at number 5, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Now, listen, the reason they are at number 5 is because they don't have that many assets that they could trade. And because of the fact that they don't have that many assets to trade, then, you're kind of hurting life after Kevin Durant and Victor Wembanyama's future. But when you're thinking about immediate team success, I mean, Victor Wembanyama is already a young star. He's not a superstar. I think that he could definitely be regarded as a superstar, but he doesn't have the resume just yet to be regarded as that in the national media. But you could definitely say he's a young superstar. There's no denying that you could say that, and he's definitely one of the top He's definitely one of the top players in the NBA right now. I mean, when you're looking at you wouldn't trade that many players for Victor Wembanyama at the current moment in time. And I think if you're the San Antonio Spurs, at the current moment in time, Victor Wembanyama can be a championship caliber player if you can get him into the playoffs to get him some experience. So why not try and trade for Kevin Durant? Because of the fact that you can have immediate success, why waste the first few years of Victor Wembanyama's career and, fighting around in the playoffs and mediocrity, I guess you should say? Why not get Kevin Durant and, have that ability to compete for a championship? Because there are not, this is a theme throughout the video, lots of teams are getting better and are going to stay really, really good. So why not try and get Kevin Durant if you're the San Antonio Spurs and, use Victor Wembanyama's early part of his career on a possible championship aspiration. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no reason. I mean, there's obviously reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. You won't want to give up most of your draft picks. But as I mentioned, the Suns have lowered their asking price for Kevin Durant because they know that teams are not going to be giving up 5 first-round picks for him. So, if you can get the right price, then I would do it. Anyway, moving on. Number 4, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, listen, Kevin Durant, big connection with Anthony Edwards. We know that, obviously the picture up on your screen of Anthony Edwards talking to Kevin Durant, but during the summer, USA Basketball, they were definitely getting along. Anthony Edwards has regarded Kevin Durant as his favorite player. But once again, like San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves team that has to be thinking about life after Kevin Durant. So you don't want to give up too much to get Kevin Durant. So you have to take that into consideration there. The Timberwolves, I mean, you could trade, pieces away from what you got from from what you got from the Karl Anthony Towns trade, but you traded a lot of picks away from trading for Rudy Gobert, and I think that's a problem as well. So that's why the Timberwolves are a bit lower on this list because of that. But a reason to trade for Kevin Durant if you're the Timberwolves is that none of the teams are going anywhere. The team you just lost to, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they are going to have this roster back for the next couple of seasons, and that's going to go into Anthony Edwards' prime and stuff like that. And then you got to think about teams like the Spurs, who I just brought up. I mean, are the Clippers going to be there? The Denver Nuggets are going to be there. There are a multitude of different teams. The Lakers are probably going to get better as well. The Houston Rockets. So there are a lot of different teams that are going to be getting better as we speak. And there are teams already that are good right now that are not going to be going anywhere. So if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you have to be thinking about right now. But you also, as I have on this bullet point here, you have to be smart of what you're going to trade because you don't want to ruin your future without Kevin Durant. Moving on to number 3, though, the Golden State Warriors. Now, listen, they could be a bit higher on this list, but I'm putting them over at 3 just because I don't know with the age that they have right now and the fact that they have a lack of role players that they would have to trade for Kevin Durant. Is there really a chance for them to win a championship? And Kevin Durant would have to take that into consideration. Also, Kevin Durant was not too interested in going back to the Warriors when the Warriors were interested in getting him at the most recent trade deadline. But I mean, if you're Kevin Durant, you might try it. You might as well try. Most of these teams right now, it's definitely a very, very, very um, I mean, Kevin Durant doesn't have much time left, but you're going on a new team that, you don't know the city that well. You don't know the players. You don't know the organization. But if you go back with the Golden State Warriors, you're going back with the same coach, the same superstars, minus Klay Thompson, or I guess you say the same pieces minus Klay Thompson. You have a few extra young role players as well. But, this is pretty much you only have 1 to 2 left, 1 to 2 years left if you're Kevin Durant of, a real chance of winning a championship. If you trade him to the Golden State Warriors, you still have Steph Curry, who's playing really, really well. Draymond Green, I mean, if he can stay on the court without getting into any problems, then, he definitely can make an impact as well. I don't know if they'd have to trade Podemski. Once again, I don't know. I know that, as I mentioned, the asking price is going down, but I don't know what the asking price actually is and what teams have actually offered for Kevin Durant. But the Warriors, they're a bit limited in assets. Which is why I think it's a bit lower on this list, and it's not number 2 or number 1. But this is definitely a team that Kevin Durant should definitely look for, just based off the fact he knows the team, he knows the players, he knows the coach, knows the organization, and all that good stuff. And you only have a 1 to 2 year stretch, and the Warriors overall only have a 1 to 2 year stretch to really win a championship. So the timeline kind of lines up. Anyway, moving on to, I mean, you could trade Jimmy Butler as well. I didn't think of that. If you're the Golden State Warriors, you don't need Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Kevin Durant, and the CBA just doesn't work with it. But anyway, at number 2, the New York Knicks, baby. Listen, Kevin Durant can definitely make make the move right of going to Brooklyn. He can, fix what the mistake that he made earlier in his career and going to Brooklyn instead of going to the Knicks based off what the Knicks have done. And at this point, if you're the New York Knicks, I mean, are you ever really going to get over the hump? Because I mean, you've had so many chances over the last couple of years. You should have beaten Indiana last year. You probably should have beaten them again this year. You're getting a new coach, who needs to get used to the system and all that. Are you going to trade away Karl Anthony Towns? So there's just a lot of things for the Knicks that you don't know right now. And if you're the New York Knicks, why not just try and go for it now, honestly, because of the fact that, maybe next year is going to be your best opportunity because Jason Tatum's not going to be there. We don't know what Cleveland's going to do. Indiana will be back, and that'll be your biggest competition probably. You'll have the Philadelphia 76ers, you'll have the Detroit Pistons, but at the current moment in time, they're on the rise. You acquire Kevin Durant. I don't think that there would be many people suggesting that the Detroit Pistons would be able to defeat you. And I'm probably leaving out a few teams in there, but I think that both sides are in a win now scenario you know, as it says right there, the Knicks, they're trying to win right now. That's obviously a reason that they fired Tom Thibodeau. They want to win at the current moment in time. And then Kevin Durant, I mean, in the biggest market in the entire in the entire world, one of the biggest markets in the entire world, definitely one of the biggest markets in America. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at the teams right now. I mean, I don't think the Knicks. I think a lot of people would take the Knicks. Everybody would take the Knicks over Orlando. Milwaukee's not going to be there. You don't know what's going to happen with Giannis. Obviously, Damian Lillard is out. And yeah, I mean, there are just not a lot of teams in the East right now that would be able to compete with the Kevin Durant on the Knicks. And if you traded away Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, this is a guy that people have been asking you, not asking you, but somewhat asking you to trade. It's kind of 50-50. But if I'm the New York Knicks, you got to think about pulling the trigger. If you're Kevin Durant, I mean, once again, you're in a win now scenario. The Knicks are in a win now scenario. The timeline doesn't necessarily match up completely because you still have Jalen Brunson who's going to be there years after when Kevin Durant would depart. But if you're the New York Knicks, I mean, you still have your own draft picks right now. I don't know how many of your own draft picks you'd have to trade for Kevin Durant, but if I'm the New York Knicks, I'm definitely looking into it. And then moving on to the number one team in the NBA, that is going to be the Houston Rockets. Now, listen, people are going to say, "Oh, you're being hypocritical because of the fact that the Rockets have, the Rockets probably they have a lot of assets that the Suns would want. They'd have to trade that all away, and then they ruin their future after Kevin Durant." Well, I mean, honestly, do the Rockets really have an immediate future? They went out in the first round against the Golden State Warriors, and once again, teams are only going to get better, and the teams that are already good now are going to stay that good. I get they had the number 2 seed in the NBA, but teams like the Lakers got hurt, and there were the Denver Nuggets were having problems. The Clippers were guys were in and out of the lineup. So at the end of the day, should the Rockets have really been the 2 seed? I don't really know if they should have. There are a lot of people that were doubting the Rockets in the NBA playoffs and predicted the Warriors to win. I wasn't one of them. I thought that they were going to get to the second round and lose. But, you know, as the number 2 seed, you should at least be, most of people should predict you to go to the Western Conference Finals. And that's not what the Rockets did. So if you're the Houston Rockets, you are kind of stuck right now because if you stay with the roster you have a great coach in Ime Udoka, but if you just kind of stick with the roster you have right now and you run it back, you're going to be kind of stuck in the same spot. Yeah, you can get a high seed, but at the end of the day, when playoff matchups matter and all that good stuff, you're not really going to be going anywhere. So if you trade for Kevin Durant, you'll have a true option. You'll get the playoff experience for the young guys, and then life for after Kevin Durant, everybody has that experience, like a Jalen Green, like a Sengun, to really, make playoff pushes in the future. I think it makes all the sense for Kevin Durant to be traded to the Houston Rockets just because of the fact that you need a number one option. Everybody's getting better. And if you stay with the roster you have right now, it's, you're just not going to go anywhere with it. So I think that the Houston Rockets would be an incredible fit for Kevin Durant. Obviously, and Ime Udoka, as I mentioned, probably one of the top few coaches in the NBA at the current moment in time. So I just think it makes all the sense in the world for the Rockets to trade for Kevin Durant. Now, if I am Houston, I can get my hands on Giannis Antetokounmpo. I probably would do that instead, just because of the fact he's going to have more time in the NBA than Kevin Durant. But if that's not available and Kevin Durant is, and the Suns come at you with an offer, I would try and do it and try to negotiate my way into the best possible way to get Kevin Durant. I think it would be great for the Houston Rockets. So yeah, that's my list, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm excited to see what happens with Kevin Durant. I mean, honestly, I think that the last couple of years, or like the last few trades, or moves that Kevin Durant have been a part of, their team, and I guess to say lots of moves in the NBA, not just Kevin Durant. Lots of teams who are trading for quote superstars in the NBA have given up so many role players and so many assets to the point where your team is just depleted and you can't do it. I mean, Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns is the perfect option, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, or the perfect scenario, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So, I think if you're the one of these teams, or every team in the NBA, there kind of has to be a memo that, like, listen, we're not we going forward, we can't trade our whole teams all we can't trade every single asset we have away just for one superstar and expect them to, carry the load because that's just not what's going to happen, and that's not what the CBA has, planned out, and that's just not the way the NBA is headed right now. The NBA is headed for only one or two superstars and a bunch of role players, and honestly, that's probably the more fun way, I guess. Honestly, you just don't want to see a super team winning the whole time. But yeah, that's my list. I think the Rockets are probably the best fit. You could kind of flip flop your way between Golden State just based and the Knicks just based off the timelines of how long those teams have a championship window. But debate on how you will. But the reason I don't have the Thunder in there is because the Thunder don't need them. I predict that the Thunder are going to win the NBA championship as of Wednesday, June 4th. I don't think the Pacers are beating them. And if you're the Thunder, I mean, you're going to be coming back with the same team next year. You got a bunch of guys on rookie contracts and a minute like low contracts, the contracts that aren't a lot of money. So if you're the Thunder, I mean, why would you want to acquire Kevin Durant and trade part of your team away that just won a championship and a team that you could easily bring back next season? It just doesn't make much sense if you're and you have a lot of draft assets as well. So I'm not trading away. If you lose the championship, then maybe the discussions can get a bit more brought into the conversation. But if you win the championship, which I think the Thunder will, then I don't really see a reason for you to trade for Kevin Durant. But yeah, that'll do for the video, guys. Make sure you subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my Royal Lingerie blogs. Make sure you go subscribe to my second channel at Around the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me at X Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me at TikTok at Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys, and also for Kevin Durant, I just forgot, like he literally left the Thunder for the 73 win Warriors, and the Thunder, like, there was a whole rivalry there. So why would you do that? But anyway, um, yeah, go follow me on X at Renegade RTG. Follow me on TikTok at Renegade RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Renegade Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.